LCS and Master Yi is banned.
Yes, it is. Well then. So is Rumble. We got some normalcy.
Okay, is this a Faker ban? Elements must very clearly have been playing something in scrims here,
Yeah,
or solo queue.
I don't even want to get anywhere near that one. Let's see what the rest of the bans are before we make any other judgments, because the Fizz is taken away. The Rise is banned. We definitely saw it could do some work last game.
All of Elements is smiling and laughing, so...
I'm not 100% sure about that one.
Well, for sure, some big Elements must have been practicing, seeing as H2K is banning it away from them and not taking any chances at all on the side here. Rise, we have seen him a few times now. Yes, he's weaker in the early game, but once you hit that late game point, you are still an absolute monster.
With this, Elements blue side. No Alistar ban. Nif played it twice in his return to the team's support position.
Yeah.
They definitely had some great success. He wasn't the only reason, but he definitely played it well. And I feel like it's very first pick, even without the Sivir here.
It is, but you also got to keep in mind there are more supports that has gotten a lot of value. Again, to Janna, now that we are in this poke meta, Janna is fantastic. So there's definitely some decisions for Elements to make here. I mean, Jace, we have seen being a massive power pick as well. There's still the junglers. I mean, we see very few jungle bans, honestly. And then when Kalista Sivir is banned, we got to keep in mind Corki as well. We're in the poke meta. A lot of teams clearly value him as like the third best AD carry. We saw H2K first pick him against SK Gaming last week. Elements might be doing exactly the same against H2K.
Yeah, they will indeed take the Corki. So a lot of power picks available for both teams, and they opt to take what they consider one of the strongest AD carries with your two very strong ones banned away. So H2K, where do they go from here? There's top-tier junglers up. You've got Rek'Sai Gragas. You've got many top laners, however, not Rumble. That will be taken away from Odoamne, who did indeed get shut down pretty hard on that last week.
He did.
For the first time in the split.
Yeah, funny enough, he played Rumble and Rise, 2 bans in this one, and yeah, didn't have a good week. But when the Corgi first pick comes in, you instantly tell yourself, okay, they're building some sort of poke composition. That's what we're expecting. So H2K can either say, do we want to take it away, like take Janna away from them, take Jace away from them, so they can't build this massive poke comp, or do we just want to start building towards a lot of hard engage and we try and punish them, because again, poke is obviously very weak if they get engaged on it. They don't get to sit there and deal damage from range and over time. So it seems like H2K for now is not saying we're going to try and take away the poke comp. Instead, you have a split pushing component in the Gnar. We've seen Black Cleaver, Frozen Mallet. That's very important as well, because you need to make sure this poke composition will lose something on the side lanes if they start grouping very early. H2K not gonna take anything away from Elements, that's for sure.
No, and they reveal a little bit, but not too much. This is still a comfortable pick for Odoamne when his Rumble has been banned away throughout the split. He's not lost on Gnar, 3 games on it, in fact. And he tends to get very involved in these kills. Very good use of teleports. We'll see as Elements answer back, they take the Nautilus, they take the Echo. Froggen has really liked the Echo mid, but of course that Nautilus, we've been talking about how it can be the flex pick, how it can be your support pick or your top pick. Not revealed yet.
Can even be jungle, even though I don't think that's...
Whoa, let's not go too far.
Yeah, I don't think that's very strong, but yeah, it is...
I'll accept the top Nautilus. I've watched Pulse play it enough.
It's flex picks coming around here from Elements with Echo as well, so I'm not showing too much. Again, they can still, let's say, put Nautilus support, then have Echo top, and pick the likes of a Jace. You have an AP top laner now. It opens up for the physical mid laner, and suddenly, again, you have the poke composition that can withstand a split push. You have the 1-4 setup, which is super, super strong in this current meta. So Elements, I like the first few picks for them. H2K clearly going for their own style. We've seen this before as well. They fall back on Yarnan being on a hyper carry. He is the guy who's dealing the most damage of all 80 carries here in the EU LCS, like percentage-wise.
It's a rough day.
Yeah, it's tough words to say.
Yeah.
So they have, in the past, relied on him. That can be fairly risky, though, against a lot of poke. If Jinx never really gets in range to do a whole lot because she just gets poked down.
Yes, Nivea did get a splash art update. We'll get to see that for just a second. I think the Alistar makes some sense here, but they don't necessarily need to take it right now as there's already a support pick. Unless Jinx been very comfortable on this Thresh. And combining that with Jinx, Yarnan, this is kind of like a classic H2K. Despite their last week's results, they still are very comfortably in the lead in a lot, in the standings rather.
Right.
And they can go back to these basics, and let's see if they're allowed to do it against a team like Elements. As the timer ticks down, what will they finally lock in? It is going to be the Hecarim and the Vladimir, so that looks like we got to support Nautilus.
And of course the Echo Jungle, didn't even mention that before. We were talking about these flex picks here. Obviously that is a pick we've seen quite often.
But not from Elements.
In Europe, not from Elements. I believe this is the first time we see Dexter play, but Elements have a very, very strong all-around composition here in many ways in terms of you have Wave Clear coming in from your AD carry, you have fairly strong split push from the Hecarim running their Igniter as we normally see from it, and overall just Elements looking to have a powerful 5-on-5 team fight from their side with great scaling from your two solo laners coming in. Echo obviously going to build full tank. H2K, they're going to be happy trying to match this 5-on-5, and it's going to be about protecting the Jinx, obviously. But there's going to be a lot of things coming for him. Nautilus ulti, Echo jumping in, Hecarim obviously with their home guards. A lot of things that can get Jan in. Yeah. And H2K's main peel is going to be obviously Thresh box and then the Gragas. So I like this if they go for more, you know, more defense, but it's very risky because it's very slow.
This is true, but we do know that H2K have a lot of trust in their individual members to get the jobs done. Ottawamne can be this situational tank. Lulex is, you know, a true tank on this top tier. Gragas, despite the nerfs he did receive, he still retains a lot of popularity. Ryu, we know, can be a carry, can be utility. The guy has many sides to him, many faces.
But H2K is clearly saying we are fine matching Elements late game, even though that's where Elements tend to win games. They say it themselves, we only win when we go late game, where we have good scaling on the likes of Froggen in the mid lane. So both teams here clearly, there's obviously some aspects of mid-game, like you got some fast pushing potential of the Jinx. It is pretty nerfed though, with the Q being hit quite a few times, the attack speed from it. But she can take down these towers very effectively still. The Gnar obviously can go for an early Frozen Mallet into Hecarim. I really like that. And then you win that matchup and at least make it tough for JWoww. And obviously taps on this mid-game spike with the Corki. But both teams, it's going to be about 5-on-5 team fights. So we might have an explosive one once we start hitting these 20 minutes and forward.
We saw a couple of ARAMs, or rather down bottom. Let's see if we've seen
it's an ARAM as well.
It could be anywhere, right? It could be anywhere on the map. Doesn't matter, but it doesn't really matter what we think. We want to know what you guys have to say. Tweet at LOL Esports with your hashtags ELWin or H2KWin. Is H2K going to bounce back after last week, or will Elements continue to climb up in the standings? We'll have to find out as we are ready to close out day one of week 6 here in Europe. H2K versus Elements. The crowd is still hyped. It has been a day of action. And let's see it continue right now as we go onto the Rift.
Interesting to see none of the teams running these poke comms here that everyone is talking about. We've seen a lot of Jace, we've seen Varus, we've even seen Runeglaive, Ezreal in the mid lane from Paper Nero. This is back to 5-on-5 team fighting.
And back to the comfort level for both these teams. Elements want to scale up into that late game and be able to just womp H2K down. That's true, but they also have picks that they're extremely comfortable on. It's a tried and true tested strategy for them, and despite last week's performance, it takes a lot of confidence to say, you know what, regardless of where the meta may be going, we can still outplay you this way.
Right, I mean, we saw H2K adapt to the poke as well. I mean, we had the Jace pick from Ryu. He had a fantastic performance against SK Gaming, but it just wasn't enough for him because, again, the way they played the lane swap in the early game was too predictable for SK, so they got to play these standard lanes and just track Lulex. Svensson was like 2 levels above him for most of the early game as well, and it meant H2K could never really play aggressive. Lost all the dragons, and in the end also lost the game. A lot of pings going on, and these early wards coming down, so you want to make sure you can spot where Elements is sending their dual lane no matter what. With these 3 wards you see around here, you cover every single entrance towards the top side.
Yeah, trying to gather as much vision as they can as they go back to base. Looking to see if they can mind game Elements into a lane swap. They don't want to take tabs, and Nif will be moving down the bottom side, hiding out in the tri-brush, maybe getting some deep wards of their own. Well, they already got a few. So where are they going right now? Looks like they're going into the jungle of H2K.
Well, H2K likes to just go mid lane before they see or before they decide, okay, we haven't seen anyone show on the top side. Notice how both Tabsy and Nif didn't walk past any of the wards because they're obviously on the bottom side of the map. So Kasing knows, okay, they're going to be down there, so we're just going to swap the top. It's very standard for H2K just to sit a little bit in the mid lane. And now what we normally see from them when they have this Jinx, again, it's fast pushing in the early game. You want a 4v0 that top tower, or 3v0 at least. Take down the top tower fairly early, and then you swap down to the bottom and you try and mirror the same thing. You send down Lulex, you send down Ottawamne with TP, and you try and force a second tower very early on. And that's how you start snowballing the game. Because obviously Orianna and Jinx are very gold-reliant carries. So these early towers can be important for H2K. But it's more Trinity Force, JWoww, Trinity Force taps. I mean, stronger mid-game from Elements for sure.
Yes, indeed. Take a look back at the matchup these two had back in week number 2. It was a handy win for H2K. I think Could have guessed that looking at the way these two are headed, but since then, Elements have definitely improved their play.
Oh, Elements here. I'm not agreeing with the decision they're making. They're way too slow at moving towards this top side here. What teams are doing very often now is they have this timer saying, okay, in like 3 minutes, 10 seconds, we expect H2K to show up with 4 members because then they've cleared like the entire jungle. But what teams do instead then say, okay, we're just gonna skip certain buffs and camps so we're there faster. So you cannot send 3 guys up to defend it. Elements are gonna arrive very late. This means H2K can now start zoning them off the tower, and they're going straight for Nif.
They can indeed. Out1 nearly goes down, but he is able to stay alive. Dexter will pick up Lulex. Yarnin will pick up Nif. It is a 1-for-1 trade. Really messy start to this one. We have seen when these teams try to collide in a 4v3, it's a little weird sometimes.
Almost seemed like H2K was surprised that Elements would show up anyway, because they were still staying at the tower. They moved down very late. Lulex ends up getting caught and dies for it, but obviously a kill for Yarnin is key for H2K, but it stops the push. What happens though is because Elements sent 3 guys to top lane, only Taps is alone on the bottom side, and we still so early in the game that he barely has an XP advantage, only maximum maybe half a level. So odoamne could just TP down bot lane, get a one-on-one lane. Taps was freezing it because Elements wanted to defend the top lane, and will at least get some farm.
Dexter's going to reveal himself with a parallel convergence. Yarnin, though, is caught between both him and JWoww. He's gonna go low, gonna go down. It's JWoww that picks him up. That rampage slicing through him.
Back in Season 3 lane swap meta, where you keep your jungler with your top laner, and you start fighting the AD carry and support 2-2, because they're obviously fairly weak in the early game. Clearly H2K being caught out a few times here. First Lulex, then Yarnin as well. Taps just stayed around. Very important for Elements that they shut down this early push, because that's why H2K was lane swapping, to get that push going. And now, kill for Dexter, kill for JWoww. Super important for them.
Off to a great start for Elements. They are off to the races, you might say, as JWoww goes back and looks to pick up a little bit more items for the gold he spent, keeping himself nice and up in the CS as odoamne has been zoned back. Remember, when odoamne gets shut down, traditionally H2K suffer.
Very true, and obviously he's going to be important in this game to keep JWoww in the one-on-one. Frozen Mallet is what we normally see from Noah in that matchup. And that means he's sacrificing, obviously, tanky stats. There's no armor, no MR, which he's going to need for the big team fight. So he's very relying on having a good early game. But I really just like the way Elements has been playing it. At first, it looked super risky to me, how they were swapping fairly late to go to 3 guys up top. But because H2K then made a mistake, Lulex got caught out, it ended up working for Elements. And then, with Taps freezing the bot lane, they just said, okay, now we got the kills top. We got to the tower, that's where we are now safe. They swap Nif back down to the bottom lane here to 2v1 against odoamne and deny him more farm. Obviously, JWoww is going to be in the same situation top lane for himself, but Elements already got 2 kills and stopped the early push.
This has been what we've been seeing from Elements. In the last couple weeks, they have been playing a little more proactively, keeping enemy teams on their toes. H2K certainly are feeling the pressure of that, as there's a slim gold lead here for Elements thanks to the 2 kills they picked up to 1 early. Some odd beginnings.
Yeah, H2K should have been able to zone them off that tower. 4 members up there already in position. Should have known Elements could have moved up and just zoned them away, and this would have been a completely different early game. But instead, credit to Elements for what they've been doing. And now, getting the rewards. You're ahead in the bottom lane, 10 CS for yourself. You got 2 kills. Dexter might be going in again. Again, it's the 2v2 top.
Looks like he is. They're targeting out Kasing, but they've got to be careful because Yarnin's rockets keep on chunking them, and they step on the chompers. JWoww is caught on the hook, but he gets away. The horse will keep on running, but now the tower is under siege. Yarnin and Kasing there. Lulex starting to make his way up top. H2K do want to take this one down. Dexter still there, clearing the wave, trying to defend, smiting down the last of the minions, and Lulex realizes he might be better off elsewhere.
It's supposed to be a bit of backup. H2K still wants to try and fast push the tower, obviously, while odoamne sits and farms in the bottom lane, because JWoww most of the time is sharing XP, because Dex is there to help him. If Lulex shows himself up top now, they might be able to just push it down 2v2. And obviously with Dexter showing himself, they know there's no threat of odoamne dying in the bottom lane, because Dexter is obviously on the opposite side of the map. So I would like to see Lulex just move up there if H2K wants to push in that tower.
Exactly, too. With the point about odoamne, he's been able to stay safer. He's been able to actually reverse the farm favor for himself versus JWoww, since there's been so much attention H2K have been spending up on the top side. Again, we talked about Odoamne. When he gets shut down, he doesn't always do so well. However, when the team is able to buy some time for him and get him relevant again, H2K go right back to being just as dominant as they always are.
Yeah, it seems for now they're fine playing it fairly slow, and even just say, you know what, we're done fighting top. So H2K is trying to reset the whole map now. They're recalling from the top side. Odoamne is returning to that lane, so they're just going to go standard 2v2. Poor back timings for Jan and sadly for him. Pickaxe first one, now he only got an average blade. Taps is sitting on 72 CS, he hasn't gone back to base yet. He's going to be very, very strong returning to the lane, 2,200 gold. And this Jinx is now looking more towards this 2-item and 3-item spike. Didn't get a BF sword early, so H2K definitely behind here in the early game. And just saying we don't even want to risk a push up top, we're just going to swap it back to normal lane. And Dexter, he's instantly here, trying to secure a gank for JWoww. This is something he didn't do earlier in the split. He was always trying to gank for taps, you know, down the bottom lane, maybe gank for Froggen.
We were always asking, when is JWoww going to get help? Well, he's getting a lot of it now, and he has been held a little bit behind on farm, but the lanes have gone back to normal. We'll see if Dexter gets back to that. We'll take a look at our fan vote, too. Everyone's still believing in H2K, at least by a factor of 2-1 at the moment. But Elements, so some hope for this team. Dragon now will be started by H2K, but there are Elements members around. Not the safest things to do.
He was sitting on that ward for quite a while, so nice little setup for H2K. Obviously, he can instantly start the Dragon. All Rio has to do now is just stay towards the bottom side of the map so he doesn't get jumped. You can see how Dexter's sitting in the Raptor camp. We've seen this gank a few times where you obviously use your W and then you jump over the wall. But with the fact that Rio just played it super safe, ward just disappeared and Dexter is back up in the top lane.
See if that paid off. The Dragon, they were able to take it. I was
wrong
wrong
about
about
a
it
pretty
being
good
unsafe.
spot though.
Odo, he's Meganar, yeah, he's still going to be able to get away. No problem at all. Parallel Convergence, not even close. So Dexter just takes a trip up top, snaps a photograph, and runs away as JWoww still continues the 1v1. Farm fairly even in that case. Let's see what Froggen can do as he finds Lulex inside his own jungle. Hemoplague is on him, but the big barrel knocks him back. Now, pings are flying. They want to take down the Fat Man. If on him, the Lantern. It's going to be enough to avoid the dredge line.
And carry his weight, no problem. Kasing pull him out.
Not too heavy. Remember, he got a little lighter this last patch.
That's true, yeah. Good guy Rito, making sure that Gragas a little bit of weight. Yeah, sadly, I don't think he wants that nerf. I think he wants to be big. Be able to land the body slams for him. But we're going back still to stand lane. Dexter's gang up top. we praised him for, you know, removing the focus on the bottom lane. But the gank he was trying to set up here would be very hard to pull off for them. And obviously gave a free Dragon over to H2K. Didn't really have to worry about anything. And also, if you look at the jungle of Elements, because you see Dexter sitting top, you know you can just invade in and ward it up. So definitely been using that information really well.
Yeah, so after what looked like a good start for Elements, still holding the lead in this game gold-wise, but they've given up that first Dragon. However, they're not really usually the team that tries to contest it all so early. H2K isn't either. However, when it's free, or rather when it's easy enough to take, you might as well.
I mean, of course, yeah. If you see the jungler sit up top and do nothing, then you just take that free Dragon. Later on, it might be a thing you use to win the game. So, like, take the free objectives when you can. There's nothing really else to get on the map. Dexter now looking for a gank in the bottom lane. No help from Lulex yet. He's just giving away the blue buff to Ryu. Yeah. There's a ward, though, to spot Dexter. He's constantly looking. Like, the thing is also for H2K here, there's only one way you can gank. Nif might go down.
He goes in very early, flashes away. Parallel Convergence comes in, but Nif, the heal is on him, but he's still going to get taken down as Kasing gets the last auto. Heal up for Yarnin, who got excited thanks to the assist. Kasing now being focused by Dexter. Timewinder goes in with a phase dive. Does he have the damage? No, he doesn't. Has to rewind himself back as Lulex shows up. Whoa. Dexter now taken down as he was knocked into Kasing. A double for the support of H2K.
And that gank from Dexter would never work because the bot lane had been completely warded up. The jungle is warded. They had the ward here in the lane push as well, so there was no way for Dexter to get in for the gank. H2K then just say we can set up an easy play here. Lulex comes down. Elements try and get something in return, but that's 2 kills now. Kasing got them, sure, but there are 2 assists for Jan, and that's key. He needs that BF. So notice here again, there's no way for Dexter really to sneak in, so H2K knows that at least he's not there at the moment to set up the gank instantly so they can go for this play onto Nif. They have enough time because they can see Dexter all the way coming in. Stun on Yanim, that's about it. Kasing drops very low, but look, Lulex is on his way down. And this honestly was just very control. Even if Kasing died, they could have still returned a kill onto Dex and got a 2-for-1.
And they do manage it, so Kasing maybe getting the cleanup duty, but Lulex and Yarnan were putting out the damage. Now, H2K, meanwhile, up top, Otawamne is pushing in the wave, but Dexter is once again there with JWoww. The tower's nearly going to fall. It's almost not really worth his time unless they can manage to get the pick off, but it's hard to gank this Gnar when his Gnar bar is, well, it's not up yet, or it's not anywhere near up, but now it's starting to stack. He's got to be careful, time's running out.
And you should really expect all this control and vision on one side of the map if you just spend so much time on the other one from Dexter's side. So H2K done a good job trying to track him with wards. He has been very active on the map. Obviously already got a kill and assist for himself, but the last few ganks, H2K has been able to predict it and play around. Now top tower went down, obviously was very low from the lane swap, and then the Gnar will just keep pushing it in.
Elements looking to set something up in the mid, but Ryu equally hard to gank. Dexter's really been trying to get involved everywhere across the map. Froggen, he'll take a command attack and W combo from Ryu. Gotta be careful, Kasing coming up on a roam. You just gotta love how proactive this guy is, setting up plays for his team. We said it beginning of this game in the pregame that Kasing, last week was the first time that H2K had lost a full week of games with Kasing on the roster, and a rough week it was, but for right now, they definitely seem to be getting that one out of their heads and looking to put the hurt on Elements. However, Elements are the team that does like to let this game go as long as possible.
Yeah, and that's obviously also why H2K was going to try and match that scaling. They trust so much in Yarnan to be one of these carries here for them, and he's shown why they can trust him. I mean, he's a great games so far, very respected among the other AD carries, both him and Kasing, obviously.
Well, yeah, and he doesn't even have to be on a hyper carry to accomplish it. I mean, put a Sivir in the man's hands and he will give you, you know, a couple of triple kills in a game. There was that one I recall from some weeks ago. He's what, 12-0 and 13?
Something crazy at least.
I remember because my opponent in fantasy was playing it and I lost pretty bad. But anyways, right now H2K, they are in a good spot with the scaling. They know that if Elements doesn't make too many plays around this bottom side, they can continue to pick up these dragons. So another one's coming up in about 15 seconds. So they're feeling pretty confident, pretty comfortable to keep this game going the way it is.
Right, and we have to remember how Yarnan was set back in terms of items, so that was the thing they wanted to wait for. You know, him to get that BF sword now, he's trying to almost match Taps. Taps has the Trinity Force ready for himself. But that was one of the things H2K were waiting for. They had great vision control because they got information on Dexter and used that also to set up this play in the bottom lane. Really give them the goal lead. So as long as they can keep it even, if they can force Taps also just keep sitting in the bottom lane and never do anything else. Because like, Elements doesn't have a siege comp by any means. It's more about them fighting with double Trinity Force. JWoww obviously has been set behind because of the lane swap. Froggen wants more time to scale up for himself. So it's more the mid-game security in terms of having this Corki and Hecarim. But obviously that's been shut down quite a bit also with H2K swapping on it. So for now, Elements still want to just wait for Froggen and want to wait for JWoww. They're going in on Lulex though, and really a lot is going to happen from it.
Lulex waits till the Time Winder rewinds, and then he takes the Lantern back out. Dragon's been procced again, but still dangerous with a number of Elements members down here. Teleport available for JWoww, but not for Otawamne. This could end up being a 5v4, but will Elements get in there in time?
We might just see H2K start the Dragon. If they see a TP, just back away instantly, because the wave top has been pushed so far down to the tower that if JWoww leaves the lane, Otawamne will get a lot of damage on it. So H2K might just try and bait this Dragon here all the time because they have great vision around it, so they don't really have too much to be too afraid of. They know there's no deep wards behind them because Elements has never been able to move into that jungle. And you can just try and force a TP from it to see if you can get a free tower.
Keep controlling the objectives, keep controlling the map. H2K, they've been the team that, you know, they relied on fights to get them objectives, but they're still smart about where they are in the map all the time and not taking the fights when they don't need it. Now, Yarnan takes a big rocket from the Corki and the armor shred. He's still standing firm against Nif and Tabs here. Kasing and Lulex roving around, try and get even more vision control. Keep Elements in the dark around this Dragon.
And the longer you keep Tab's bot lane, if you're Elements, the more damage your mid tower is going to take. Froggen is going to get pushed down again and again and again. And Elements are just sitting in these standard lanes, and this is exactly what H2K want, because they're winning top lane, they're winning mid lane. In terms of the damage on towers, they might even get a kill in Nif.
Yep, they're going to pick him back in. Command Shockwave, and they knock him away, but he stays alive. Hemoplague on Ryu and Lulex, they'll stay alive as well. Meanwhile, though, Yarnan will finish off the bottom. It looks like Odo can maybe finish off the top. All said and done, H2K can get some objectives, however. There's a teleport coming in from JWoww. Yarnin is none the wiser. Here comes the horse. Yarnin knocked into tower range. Heals, get excited. A teleport following from Odoamne, and Yarnin will make it out by the skin of his teeth.
So Odoamne also TPing in just in case anything was gonna happen, but Yarnin, he gets the tower. Procs the passive, he instantly go to Dragon because now TP is gone from JWoww. He still doesn't have that Trinity Force. He's still delayed on that one, and H2K have been controlling the river. Dexter steals it.
Manages to go back in time and get over the wall. Dexter will grab a Dragon for elements.
Very important play for him. Don't want these early Dragons to start snowballing out of control, especially when both comps want to fight around these objectives as well. H2K has a bit more, quite a lot more siege potential though with their composition here. And
they do.
We talked about this with JWoww, with Odoamne on this Gnar. Black Cleaver, Frozen Mallet, if he does decide to itemize into both of them, I mean, he's going to be so strong in the one-on-one against Hecarim. If he only wants one of them, that tends to be enough to at least keep JWoww in control because you have that range advantage as well and just keep the distance all the time. So H2K definitely has a lot of ways they can play this one out. And the Elements are getting to the point where you need to start making some plays here with Taps and JWoww. They tried in the bottom lane, that didn't work, so that's a lot of time wasted for Elements where there's no teleport.
You do indeed have to start making plays. You've got to be able to be proactive against these top teams. If Elements wants a shot at playoffs and to make it in, you know, every game's starting to count. They are in that lower end of teams versus H2K, still sitting in the top. If they can make a statement against H2K, they can show the league that they do indeed deserve to be in those playoffs.
And also with the fact now Unicorns won today, Giants won as well. Like, these are the teams they're fighting against. SK Gaming, of course, Gambit Gaming. Like, there's a lot of teams just around them, just like 1 or 2 wins in between. So for Elements to not drop out of the top 6, obviously they have to beat an H2K. Well, they're fighting against Origin to keep that number 2 spot.
2 different priorities here for both these teams, but back to the comfort in regards of that. You know, we talked about it in champion selection. They're trusting to what they know to be a winning formula. Which one will come out on top? Right now, Tabs and Nif are looking to push on the top side. They're not completely unopposed as Lulex is coming in. Got himself a red buff, but he's got no backup. Will the big barrel be enough to push them back? Looks like it is, as he snuck it in underneath the little barrel.
Well, H2K allowing Elements to get some very easy damage on top, that no other lane is really being pushed down. They could have gone straight for mid lane, but Froggen is sitting on his own and trade the mid tower for top tower. But it seems like H2K
Red team's turret has been
just give up this tower here to Elements. Didn't really gain anything. Bot lane as well is going to be pushing. Odoamne obviously wants to go down. He has that Frozen Mallet now, so JWoww won't be able to do a whole lot, but might be a fight again. It's on to Nif.
They are on to Nif indeed, but will they be able to polish him off? Lulex, Yarnin sends the Super Mega Death Rocket into the Nautilus to take him down. Dexter now has to flash the wall. Meanwhile, Froggen and JWoww will look to trade an objective in the mid. No teleport on Odoamne, so he takes the slow path. 1 kill for 1 tower. I'd say that's Elements worth.
Yes, not a fan of the last few minutes for H2K. Really allowing Elements, despite not having a teleport, you know, to push up these lanes here. There was no response. Odoamne recall from top because he wanted to go bottom lane. Then he realized, oh, my top tower is being pushed in, so Lulex had to go up there and defend it, while Yarnin was already sitting in the bottom lane clearing a wave. There was just no pressure on the map. We'll be able to get a mid tower at least for themselves here, but Elements got some gold. That was very important, especially because JWoww was set behind earlier.
Yeah, it goes back to being able to secure that 1 dragon for themselves. It gives them a little bit of the bonus. APAD not as effective right now in this stage of the game, but still cutting a bit of momentum. After that, H2K didn't seem to really be doing a whole lot on the map. So as it stands, we're 21 minutes into this game. The gold slim lead for H2K. They've got a tower lead as well, but it isn't a lot.
It is not, but again, we have to keep in mind this Jinx is scaling up to be a monster. Orianna, 2-3 items for herself as well. So by having just the lead for H2K, and it is also doing double Trinity Force, it is definitely okay. It's where they want to be. You have earned about 550 gold on your average blade on Yana. He got it very early. Odoamne here has gotten his items. So H2K is in a great spot. The fact that they are ahead in gold in the mid game against Elements is perfect for them. They just don't have to give up any more objectives because, again, they have this split pusher that's going to be stronger than the Hecarim. And already your team fights at this point, because you have 2 items completed on your Jinx, they're not going to be bad for H2K around Dragons and so on. They just have to be careful about this home guard TP from JWoww. That's going to be the main thing.
And question for Elements then becomes, how can they set up those TPs? How can they set up flanks and plays that will fluster H2K? Because they have been, as we've seen in the last week, not completely perfect on all fronts. Even though they are very, very comfortable with their composition, with their picks, they are still prone to a few mistakes. If Elements can force some of those, it could be to massive benefit for them.
Yeah, Elements is gonna need some deep wards if they want to properly contest the Dragon. You can see two of them. One of them is at the blue buff. H2K will most likely expect it to be there. Typically, we see teams either put a pink ward around the small bush to clear out the wards layer, or just obviously the sweeper. None of them is ready though, so Elements does have a way to take the fight. Before that, they're gonna have to need to go for a dive in the bottom lane if they want to do anything. Kasing placing ward, he's expecting it to happen.
Everyone's expecting something to happen as this Dragon's getting close to coming up. Tower getting close to going down. Yarnin backs away from Nip and Tab. Tower is finished off. Lulex is here. Ryu is around the side. Elements aren't going to take that fight. They're spotted in the brush as well, but H2K are likewise spotted. A lot of vision for both these teams, and nobody wants to start the fight off with the Dragon oh so close to spawning.
Elements done a very good job taking over the river though. In terms of pink wards, they got that bot lane tower, because then as long as you have the wards and the players around, you can obviously keep playing aggressive and pushing in on towers. So they're using taps for that at the moment. Also going for the blade with the Ruin King. Again, you get double tank, super standard for him, and I like it. It gives very, very nice damage for the Corki in terms of auto attacking, more physical damage for him as well.
Nip has been eating these hooks. He'll also eat a little more harass and some more damage. Lulex will knock him against the wall. He's gonna have to flash Dredge line, but the barrel takes him down. Roll it out for Lulex.
And this is still a problem for Elements. JWoww is forced to sit and clear waves while Odo Amne is the guy pushing him down, controlling that. So he can TP first, because obviously JWoww wants to go back to base, wants to have the home guards ready. He can't do that as long as Gnar is sitting there pushing him down to tower. And then Nif is getting caught out. Here's the TP coming though, it's a 4v5.
Dragon is down, however. JWoww, can he target anyone out? He's denied, the flay's there. He's gonna go Onslaught of Shadows onto Yarnin, but he's taken down before he can do anything else. Ryu will get the kill for that one. Odo, Big Gnar, Froggen into Tabs, and oh boy, Lulex, he's so close to going down, and he will. But that is the price for a Dragon, 1 for 1. And H2K get that objective. A very messy fight on all fronts, started by JWoww.
Yeah, it's 4v5 for Elements. They lost the Dragon though. They had the river control, but then Nif getting caught out, and the fact Hayrim was forced to just sit and defend on the tower. Let's see the fight again. We talked about this ward behind near the blue buff. HK didn't clear it out. It's a good interrupt on the home guard at first, but just the damage Trinity Force ignite onto Yarnin. And then notice here, they want to do a shockwave flash from Odo Amne, but just a little bit too late. Doesn't manage to get any damage from it. In the end, one guy ends up dying, and this is the worst. Like when you have this team come saying, I'm gonna shockwave, and the guy's like, okay, he's gonna flash with it. Everyone is expecting it to land, so you like to pile onto it, and then it misses, and you're like, oh, now you're just...
This is the risk you were talking about in Champ Select. You know, this is H2K. They're saying that we can play at this very high level of coordination, but it doesn't work 100% of the time. And when it doesn't, Elements can capitalize. They still lost to Dragon. Admittedly, it was a 1 for 1. Not the worst trade in the world for H2K, but still, Elements are fighting back. They're making plays, and they're making the statement that they can't go toe-to-toe with these top 3 teams.
For now, at least. Still have to remember, we are in the mid-game where they were supposed to be able to create some advantage for themselves, and they haven't been able to. Still behind in gold. Late game teamfights though, again when you run these triple threat comps, if you can single out a carry from H2K, it is definitely worth it. So JWoww, I mean, his job again is just going to be, where is Yarnin? Okay, jump him. If you trade 1 for 1 between JWoww and Yarnin, H2K might lose the fight, because then only Ryu is left to really deal damage. Even though Odam is of course building a bit more DPS on his Gnar. That's going to be the objective for Elements, but it's going to be so much about H2K just having proper vision control on the flanks. And then, when you see that TP coming, you just spam something on Kasing now.
I don't think Kasing saw that coming. Ganged up on by Elements members. All of a sudden, they've taken him down and start to try their luck on the mid. Yarnin will be there to push the waves back, but everyone else from H2K, they were caught snoozing as they were trying to make some moves in the top and bottom.
Big mistake from Kasing. H2K were setting up the standard 1-3-1 they like to do on the map. If they have no real objective to push in, they just split up 1-3-1, Ryu in one lane, Odam the other one. Then you sit your 80 carry with Kasing in the mid lane, so Kasing can start roaming around with Lulex as well, the 2 guys together. But Kasing just randomly getting caught out in the mid lane. That's important for Elements. They're going for more.
They're going for more indeed. The Time Winder comes out, hits Yarnin in the back of the head as Lulex was dashing out of the parallel convergence. Elements utilize the number advantage they had briefly to clear vision away, sweep it all out, and replace it with their own around the Baron pit. Ottawamne looks to maybe reverse that trend here as he targets out the pink ward. Elements, as you said, still haven't been able to get too much of an advantage for themselves, but they still can punish H2K's positional mistakes. It was Kasing that time that paid the price.
Yeah, so have to really respect the damage Elements can do in these fights here.
And it's still this mid game. It's getting closer to the end game, but that double Trinity Force is still powerful for them.
It is, and now the fact that Froggen has been able to just play a passive game, 3 items Vladimir, he's the late game insurance really for Elements, and he's gonna be massive. If he gets to sit in the middle of H2K and deal the AoE damage, there's gonna be a lot of things preventing him though. Double tank to zone him. Kasing is gonna try, and then of course Rio and Yanin kiting backwards. But if Froggen gets in there, his damage will one-shot these carries.
I have to respect that. H2K putting a lot on Yarnin for damage's sake. Ottawamne is building some as well, though, as you said. Really, it's going to be on Lulex to try and force disengages when they need them. But it has been H2K really trying to start most of these fights, with some exceptions. Elements reacting quickly when they find a member out. Sidewave control, it's been in favor of H2K, but it's only because Elements have focused so much on this mid right now.
Yeah, Elements doesn't really have a tool to defend the side lanes properly, other than just sit and try and wave clear. You're not going to stop the Gnar at all. Also these fights here, I mean, Elements have a composition that can have a lot of CC. Interfere from Hecarim, you have obviously Nautilus bringing so many different ones, and then Dexter, can he connect with his massive AoE stun? Because that will buy time for Froggen to get in the mix of H2K and deal the damage. But there's a lot of things that have to work for them. The TP home guard has to single out a carry, and then Dexter and Nif together needs to lock down targets for Froggen to get in the mix and deal damage. Otherwise, H2K is going to keep kiting back, and then Froggen might never get to this point where he really can one-shot someone. And then the Jinx and the Orianna will be super powerful. But that's going to be the big team fights. They're going to start. Very soon. We've seen a few of them already. But for now, H2K will just keep splitting up the map. You have Black Cleaver, Frozen Mallet on the Gnar. You're not that great in a team fight, but you're damn strong in a one-on-one.
Why not when you can do all of that oh so quickly? Yarnin utilizing that Jinx to take down the towers, and Elements not there in time to react.
And of course, let's say, when we say not that great in a team fight as an R, you're still very, very strong. It's just
but you also have to be timing it, right? You've got to get your Gnar bar up to the right spot.
Compared to the full tank Gnar, obviously. Gotta be careful here, you know? People misunderstand here and there.
That's okay to fish. I know what you meant.
That's all that matters to me, Pyro.
I'm there for you. I got your back. Let's see if Elements have each other's backs here. 7 seconds on this next dragon about to spawn. Remember, the only reason H2K aren't sitting on 3 right now is Dexter coming in with a nice, quick and easy theft. Let's see if this time they will be the ones to start it up. Scuttle Crab control in favor of H2K.
Once again, we've got this ward here placed near that blue buff of Element, so they have the potential. Hecarim is already in base. Oram is coming in. Mega Knight's already there.
He is
going to run out soon.
H2K are close to finishing this one off, but Nif wants to start the fight. They've targeted out Ottawamne, who's going to Gnar them away. Meanwhile, the Hecarim in the backside is going to try and come in, but he's not got enough backup. The Dragon has already gone down. Nif still taking the front line. Super Mega Death Rocket going to deal even more damage to him, but the Shockwave will come in, but Froggen will pick up Ryu before it can even come down. And Elements grab 1, nearly 2 with Ottawamne losing the Dragon for it.
Yeah, Lulex managed to get the Dragon. But we got to see what Froggen wants to do here. Both summoners used. He can take down Ryu very easily. H2K never got to really use their carries because, as we talked about, if JWoww can single out Yanin, he removes so much damage, and that's what he did. H2K never got to teamfight, and Lulex take a lot of damage.
Oh, and he's got to heal himself up, or get healed up rather now, while the rest of Elements are continuing to fire down this Baron. There's no answer for H2K just yet, except for Ottawamne, who's trying to get in the back. Ottawamne's going to take down Nif. This is getting dangerous. JWoww's going down. Yarnin, he's getting excited in the back. The Baron's going down. It's secured by Froggen. However, he may not live to be able to use it with Otto still chunking him out. Lantern's there. He will take it. But they've caught Froggen. Will they go back in? Yarnin running away. Sends a zap. Not going to connect. 2 members down for the Baron. Traded. It's just been all these trades, all these moves around these objectives, and they're still running looking for tabs. He's going to Valkyrie away.
Ulti ready, just in a few seconds.
Waiting for the Super Mega Death Rocket. If Yarnin can get it timed right, Otawamne looking for Dexter. Meanwhile, Yarnin will find Tabs, and Otawamne will find Dexter. Froggen, can he be the sole survivor with this Baron? I don't think so, as he runs straight into members of H2K, is able to dodge away from a lot of damage, but still surrounding him. H2K take him down and prove their team fight is superior.
So this whole thing started near the Dragon. H2K moved in very late, couldn't get a proper fight, lost Ryu. Elements instantly saying, we're just gonna go for that Baron here. It took them quite a while to take it down because Taps was on the other side of the wall. He was trying to zone away H2K. They got in, they kept poking away. Otawamne was sitting there with Meganar, and they completely turned it around.
Speaking of Meganar, Otawamne gets back up to that. Inhibitor destroyed all of that. A Baron to Elements immediately taken away, taken off the board by H2K, just picking them off one by one by one. They then march down the top side, grab themselves all the way to the Inhibitor. They even get a blue buff for the troubles on the way out. Let's just take a look at that again.
Yeah, again, so look here from Elements. 4 members are in their Baron pit, but they're taking a lot of damage because right now the AD carry is outside. Tap has not been able to deal any damage to it. It bought a lot of time for H2K to position themselves and wait for Baron to do a lot of work. Nif ends up going down without anyone really doing anything, and Otawamne can tank it up, and for now, well, Yarnin has been untouched so far, just taking a little bit of damage in the very end. And now they can go for this cleanup because only 3 guys are left. Yarnin is waiting a few seconds for his ulti, and then he gets tapped, so we didn't get to see the kill, but
hold on.
Wait for it.
Wait for it. Master of Rockets. There it goes.
Back. Predicting the jukes.
That is one dead Earth. Meanwhile, though, H2K, they have managed to basically get themselves I would say comfortable lead at this point. It's not huge in the gold department, but the towers are certainly showing otherwise. They've got an Inhibitor down on the top side now. Odo is a little bit caught, but he is Meganar. If they can't finish him off, and they can't, Elements won't have enough damage left in the bank to keep on dealing it. Meanwhile, it's back to the mid for both these teams.
Yeah, really the key thing for H2K is how fed this Jinx is. You got 4 items completed. Compare that to Taps Ram, who's trying to get that Infinity Edge now, but he's a whole item behind. 4 kills, loads of farm, obviously towers down. This is exactly what you need in a comp that's all about protecting that AD carry.
Yeah, 5 assists on top of it too, with only that 1 death. I mean, Yarnin has had so much kill participation because his team has been around him and he has been the impetus for all of this. You can see what happened. Those resets are oh so valuable. And while Elements have tried to shut him down in the early game, in the mid game, they're faltering here in the late game. And now it is at the cost of some serious damage to their turrets. Yarnin's actually just tanking this for a few more seconds.
Yeah, you got multiple shields, you got life steal to get the HP back as well. And as long as JWoww is standing in front of you, you should be able to spot his engagement. He's gonna have to just jump straight forward. He won't be able to have the one-shot potential then. Froggen summoners are back there, very important. Can Elements lock down H2K? Look at Dexter, we're looking at Nif. Because that would allow Froggen to be a late game carry. If he's forced to just sit there and try and hit 1 target, never gets in the mix, Elements won't have enough damage compared to what H2K can bring.
They have been trying to force some mistakes, but H2K have simply taken advantage of their own mistakes. Tower goes down, Dexter caught on a line. In comes Froggen with the Hemo Plague. However, the rest of H2K is immediately bailing out. Dexter looking to phase dive his way in for a kill.
Look at the bottom lane.
No one's dead, and that was a 4v5. Meanwhile, as Otawamne just continues to peck away at the tower, finally takes that one down. Doesn't want to go for the Inhibitor as the rest of Elements were swarming to the defense. But look at this, up at top side, they've got to send someone back to deal with that. Elements, they're running out of options on this map.
Yeah, it's so hard for them to set it up properly. They need JWoww to be there. I'm not sure why he wasn't back in base and then ready to TP in. Once they started the play here, maybe he just wasn't ready and just need a few more seconds. But we see how hard it is if you're like Echo and you're the guy who's trying to lock down targets with his W. But they have, I mean, they have options. They have Nautilus, Heckroot. The damage from Froggen is insane if he gets there.
But they've got to set it up properly, and H2K just aren't giving them that angle right now. After that last big, I don't even know what you want to call it, from Dragon to Baron to cleaning up for H2K, they just seem to not have been in the groove of things. Another Dragon and due to come up, this would be number 4 for H2K. Elements need desperately to stop this, but are they even confident that they can stem this tide?
If you have no vision and you got a face shake on the way there and you don't really have any chance of getting into the river, you just have to give it up. So now,
solo.
Yeah, of course, 4 dragons for H2K.
or Lulex will just come in and secure it.
Which also means now they don't really need to take any chances, because you can wait, you can have a Baron, that's the one way you can maybe close out the game, you can have 5 Dragons, that's another way for yourself. As long as you don't overextend and give Elements that chance to lock you down in terms of the engage from Echo, from Hecarim, then you are gonna win if you're H2K. So it all relies on them just playing this one out. Slowly, you know, play it safe.
You do know H2K is the team that they always go into things with the plan. It always tends to be a sound plan, with the exception of last week. They have been looking quite good this split all around.
Look at the ward behind though. Elements really wants to TP in with JWoww. Yanan has QSS though. Is the TP coming on the pink ward?
They've got to shut him down. He's pulled in. There's the teleport. In comes the Hecarim. They've caught Dexter. Maybe they'll distract him for long enough. JWoww looks for Ryu this time. Doesn't have enough damage. Lulex going a little bit low, but JWoww's going even lower. Inhibitor respawns, but that isn't going to matter as Elements are starting to drop. Froggen has to pull away from the shockwave. The rocket comes in, and a triple kill for Yarnan. H2K, clean house. Only tabs remaining. I think inhibitors might be going right back down to Fischio.
And the coordination simply isn't there for Elements when they go for the engages. They're always missing something. So they cannot lock down Yarnan. Yet Summoners, yet QSS, H2K, protect the AD carry. It still works.
Absolutely does. When that AD carry is Yarnan, and that team is H2K. They're firing down the last of the Nexus turrets. Death timers way too long. H2K are back in business.
And just a very, you know, slow focus game for them. They knew that great scaling. We saw the lanes up early on, and we saw